your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a brand new episode of Wrestling with Freddie. I'm alone today. Mr. Jeff Dye is on assignment, and I already miss him. And you're going to miss funny jokes because I'm not going to say anything funny this entire damn episode. So welcome back. I hope everyone had a restful weekend. I went and saw Furiosa with the family. My son dug it. The rest of us, you know, there were decent parts, but we didn't love it the way he did. Can't give it the love that we gave the Fall Guy. I hope you guys see it because that movie didn't do as well as I thought it would. But it's really funny and there's cool stuff. So check out Fall Guy. Anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, whatever you did. And we thank you for supporting this show. Now, I'm going to talk about everything that's going on in wrestling today because, again, there's not going to be any jokes and we have a lot to get to. So, also stay tuned. Unsanctioned Thursday, we are going to get to the predictions that we made for King of the Ring and Double or Nothing, all that good stuff. We didn't do it last week because I was out of town. I was in Las Vegas where Double or Nothing was, but I couldn't go. And we gave you the Matt Cardona episode. We love Matt. Always respect to Matt and get healthy soon, my brother. He did our Unsanctioned Thursday as well. So we thank you for doing both episodes. And we thank you guys for tuning in. Now, let's start the damn show. Contract negotiations is what's in the wrestling news. We finally have some actual wrestling news instead of just storylines. AEW is celebrating their 5th year anniversary. And with that, there's a lot of contracts they have that are ending. Everybody saw the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, step away. He didn't body slam anyone on the way out, but left the company. Ethan Page, who we showed a little love to a few months ago, All Ego Ethan Page, I think was his name. And he debuted in NXT and he looked great. I think they can do good things with him over there. So that was good. Jeff Hardy's contract is set to expire. I don't know if AEW is going to give him any love. Will Ospreay's been trying to recruit Ricochet on X or Twitter or whatever you guys call it, on social media. He's sending him tons of love. This is what football players do to not get busted by saying, "Oh, you're interfering with a contract negotiation." They go, "No, I'm just sending love." That's what Will Ospreay's doing, and that's pretty awesome. It makes it feel very real. I think it actually is in this case. Also, MJF came back, and no surprise to anyone on this podcast, has re-signed with AEW and has no intention of going anywhere. I think he really enjoys building a company as opposed to being a cog in the wheel, which isn't an insult to WWE, but WWE is bigger than any wrestler they have, and I don't think AEW is yet. Also, Chad Gable. His contract is coming up, and they just gave him a storyline, which makes me think they plan on re-signing him. And they're saying, look, we can give you storylines. Look, you just have to be able to pull them off and execute. So he's getting an opportunity. So hopefully that motivates him to stay there. I think WWE is the right place for him. I don't know how he would. I like his character, and I don't think that character would work in AEW. And I think it works really well in WWE. Also, the big one, Becky Lynch. The last kicker. This is crazy to me that her contract is up and she's a free agent. Now, I'll say this. She's not going anywhere. But, well, I said this about Edge, too, or Adam Copeland. I was like, oh, he's a WWE guy for life. He's not going anywhere. And he bounced. But I just can't. She's so much younger than Copeland was. Sorry, old man. I think she has so many years left where I think Adam Copeland knows he has a couple years that he wants to get in there, and then he'll be done for good. A couple more, great stories. I think Lynch has 10 years of stories. So it's strange that she's a free agent. It's very strange. I'll say this. Tony Khan is going to make a huge offer to her. Whatever he offered Mercedes Moné, it's going to be double that. I wouldn't be able to get her on mine, man. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'd give her 50% of my show. I'd be a 50-50 partner with her if she came and did my promotion. If you're out there listening, girl, call me. But yeah, man, I just can't see her going anywhere but WWE. I think she made herself there. They helped make her. She kind of built her own opportunities as opposed to opportunities. Like, she was made when her nose got busted up, and she handled it like the man. she handled it like a stud. And the crowd fell in love with her in that moment. And she blew up after that. Like, you never saw her cut a promo as good as she did after that nose break as you did before. Like, it just, something clicked, and she was just ready for the moment when it came. That's what other people call that luck. My godfather, the Bob Wall, said luck is being prepared for opportunities. And she was prepared and just took over women's wrestling, basically. It was crazy, and it happened so fast, like a rocket ship. And every time she gets hurt, which isn't often, when she comes back, it's like nothing slowed down. The rocket ship is still in full effect. So at that level, I mean, some people have walked away, right? Like Jim Brown back in the old football days, for our older listeners, just walked away. Barry Sanders just walked away. They for sure had years left, but I can't see her doing it. I think she wants to be a mom and be a wife and see what that feels like and be there for the early moments in her child's life. And then, once you have confidence in that and okay, my baby isn't going to just die if I walk out of the room, at least for most artists, you start hungering to do your art again, because that's what you were put on earth to do, right? Is follow your purpose. And she has a clear purpose, and it's in the entertainment industry, and it's as a professional wrestler. So I think that it'll come calling. I think that voice will come calling, and I think she'll listen to it because it's her voice. It's not someone else saying, I think you should get back in the ring. She seems to follow her own voice. I didn't read her book, but I've read excerpts from it that have been posted online, and she definitely knows who she is and isn't someone who has dreams. She has plans. That's why she's ready for opportunities when they come. So we love you, Becky Lynch. And I wasn't even really joking when I said, hit me up. But I know you're going back to WWE. You're going to kick ass there. Anyway, I get told from time to time that I don't talk enough WWE. And we're not going to start today. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk WWE. And we're going to talk Gunther. And I want to talk about the opening segment because when he came out, I was so, first of all, I'm not a fan of the crown. I was so glad that he was just carrying it and not wearing it. I think it's just, maybe it's because I'm so anti-monarchy. Like, I don't respect the royal family. Like, you didn't earn any of that was given. I don't respect that. So I don't bow down to any crown, to no man. Gunther's the man, and Ludwig's super cool with it, man. Like, he's not a valet, he's a wrestler, but the way he introduces him, and he's so arrogant, and he's got this asshole look on his face. Not that you look like an asshole. It's this like air of like, he looks down his nose at people instead of like up through the furrowed brow. Those are the kind of protagonists we like. The antagonists always look down their nose. That's like old cinema stuff. So he comes out and he's talking and doing his thing on the mic. And Priest comes out like a frigging bullet. I mean, it wasn't an interruption. He came out and the music hit, and you would have thought that JD McDonough and Finn Balor were rocking the guitars live, and Damian Priest was coming out to start screaming like, rah, rah, rah. I mean, I've never seen someone walk that fast without running, if that makes sense. He moved with purpose and stormed right into the ring. And then the promo didn't quite match the walk at first because he was very dismissive of Gunther. And I thought Priest would have been, or at least the Priest character would have been more in his face about it. Not taking offense, not defensive, but just more in his face. Like, what are you going to do? What? Now talk. You know what I mean? Something like that. But instead, and this stays in true to his character, so maybe I'm off on this. He's been a little more smooth and cool with his dialogue. Like, it's not a scripted for him. It feels like it's just more his voice. And so this came out in that regard, or in that way. And then the segment gets introduced by everyone's favorite wrestler who's on social media and actually talks to people, Drew McIntyre. And he storms out, and the crowd is hot for Drew McIntyre because they're hot for CM Punk as well. And they just want to scream it at him because they think it bugs him. And he just plays with them now when they do it. He just plays with them. And he comes out, and now it's a three-way. And these promos are always tricky at this point, right? Because you don't know who the focus is on, and it can't be on all three people at once because you're not going to have a problem with three people at the same time because that's confusing. And so it loses some steam, but Drew's good enough on the mic that he's able to, carry this promo on. And then it all goes to hell as it always does. And the story is going to continue. And basically the story is this. Damian Priest is fighting Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle in Scotland. I'm telling you this right now. Damian Priest is winning that match. You can put that on the prediction sheet. One, they're not just going to one-shot him and then done. He's got to have at least one win for it to feel like a more legitimate championship when Gunther wrestles him, and Gunther will beat Damian Priest. That's my second prediction. Also, the WWE are such dicks about this. They love making you lose in your hometown. They love it more than a little kid loves a birthday or a trip to Disneyland. If they can find a way to make you lose in your hometown, your ass is losing. I used to see it with CM Punk all the time, man. It would just be like, here it comes. Like everybody, I didn't work with Punk, but you'd see this really cool story written for Punk and it just all get killed because then, it goes to Chicago. Well, let's delay the story because it can't lose and then look like shit. Like it just, this philosophy of having to lose in your hometown just deaded so many stories in WWE when I worked there. But Drew is going to lose in his hometown and he's going to be pissed. And that's going to be sort of his narrative, right? And that's what people can play with him in promos. It gives you something. It gives him motivation. I had it during COVID and then I had it for 3 seconds and then I had it for another 3 seconds. And people are saying, I can't hold on to it. I'm never going to be a real champ. It gives his character a lot of motivation. So I actually think it's cool. Not everybody has to win and be dominant, right? So that's the first story. The second story, and this is the one that I think is almost more interesting because I don't know if everyone can pull it off. I want them to. I want all wrestlers to succeed. But can they find a story? And is Gunther ready for that story for him to take the title off of Damian Priest? Because that seems to be the direction that this is going in. And I predict Gunther will take it at SummerSlam off of Damian Priest. That's twice I've said it, so you know it's true. I just don't know what the story's going to be outside of I'm the best wrestler and I'm going to prove it, which is fine because the matches are going to be money. So that's fine. Wrestling grows when the stories can exist outside of wrestling, right? When podcasters like me are talking about it, or when people are pulling clips and putting it on social media because can you believe what wrestler X just said to wrestler Y? Yeah. And then he slapped the taste out his mouth. Like that's what helps wrestling grow. So I always want good stories attached to it, just so you guys know why. But yeah, so anyway, I'm curious as to that. I really like Gunther. I like Damian Priest too, and I like Drew McIntyre, but somebody has to win and be champ, and I think they're going to give it to Gunther. I think he's ready. I hope he's ready. His wrestling is so awesome and fun to watch, and if you don't watch AEW, his style is very sort of AEW-ish. Not the choreography itself, but as far as the hard hitting or the stiffness, or at least it looks like it's real stiff. He might hit like a feather, but it looks like he can take it. And it looks like he can dish it out. And that's a lot of what they do over there at AEW. And I try to celebrate all wrestling here. Now, staying in the WWE, the other main story is on the women's side is Liv Morgan and her revenge tour, which I don't think we have to say every time she has a promo. I don't think she has to remind us it's a revenge tour. I think like every other episode or once every 3 is enough. And then allow her to some more creative dialogue. So, because she can act a bit, to let her try and get this character over even more. You don't have to say the same thing. You don't have to say your catchphrase every single week unless it's like at the end of a promo, right? Or hers aren't. It's always like somewhere flowing in there. I know it's revenge, and she's playing it really well. So let her be more colorful as far as like how she's going to take piece by piece, everything from Rhea. Let her remind us of why it's a revenge tour or how she's going to do it, not just the words. But anyway, more importantly, she had a match against the man, Becky Lynch, in what could be her final match with the company. What? In a steel cage for the Women's World Championship. And they go out there and they wrestle. And if you're following this story, Dominic Mysterio and her have had some dealings in the darkness, we'll say. Nothing, no sexy time. Anyway, he goes out there and we don't know really who he's trying to help. Is he trying to help Becky and screw over Liv because Liv did what she did to Rhea? Is he helping Liv out? We don't know, but it seems like he's wanting to help out Becky. JD and Finn come out there to try and stop him. And here comes Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, if you don't know who he is the largest human being in the world. And he runs really fast for a professional wrestler. And he's chasing this guy, JD McDonough, who's got this really big head. And when he runs, man, it's really funny. But yeah, so he's chasing him down and he's going to kill him. He's mad at him. And he smashes into Dom and the cage smashes into Becky and, my head, pwah, pwah, and she falls down and Liv's like, yo, what? All right, this is my opportunity. Boom. And she retains the championship and she's walking out and she's looking at Dominic Mysterio like, what did you do? And he's looking at her like, I don't know what I did. And she's like, all right. And there's this awkward moment. And then it cuts to black. And you're like, okay, that's kind of awkward. Well, what you found out after is that after the cameras went off, she smooched him. She planted a big old smooch. And what happens is the camera guy basically lets them know when the camera's off. And he goes, okay, now we're dark. And then she goes and does the smooch. That's why the timing was so perfect and beautiful, because the crew there is no friggin' joke and they know what they're doing. And I think I even know the cameraman who probably did it. And that guy was that good when I worked there. And that was 15, 20 years ago, probably. Anyway, everybody was talking about on social media, again, something outside of the ring that brings other eyeballs to it. Like, oh, what's going on? Even if they just think Liv's hot or they just think Dom's hot and they go, you know what I mean? Like, there's no secret why women went to go see Magic Mike. They weren't like, oh, I wonder if this would be as good as Dances with Wolves script wise. No, they went to see sexy dudes. So as long as you get them in there, it doesn't matter why you got them in. You just got them. And that's why these types of moments, and they've been much more prevalent since Vince left, have really, I think, helped the brand and will help continue the brand to grow. But anyway, it got a ton of people excited about that. Now we can hopefully get into a promo where she does start talking about how she's going to take away everything Rhea had piece by piece. Maybe she's going to be the reason that Damian Priest loses his title, because she gets in between the Judgment Day and screws them all up and gets in their heads. And now they're all screwy and they make him lose his title. And all of a sudden, Gunther gets to win at SummerSlam. I don't know. But those are the two main stories that are going on. Now we're going to move to SmackDown. And I'm not going to spend as much time on this because I think everybody knew what was happening. And the main story was AJ Styles' retirement. Now, maybe you thought it was legit, but every one of my friends that watches wrestling, and myself included, was like, nah, man, you don't get that shredded and that jacked to retire. Like, that's not going to happen, man. I know that I would. I'm not working out to quit acting. I'm back in the gym because I'm going back to the movies. So to me, right away, I'm like, man, LA Knight's like, hey, if the rumors are true, I just want to say respect. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, dude, nah. Like LA Knight would say, I win. Nah. And I didn't believe it. But if you did, he came out and he sees Cody Rhodes. Mark Henry did this years ago. My producer said, never trust a wrestler in a pastel suit, which made me laugh when I was going through the show's notes. But he goes out there with the Good Brothers. I knew Luke Gallows as Festus when I worked there, that they came in as Festus and something. They called themselves Biscuits or their theme music went Biscuits and Gravy. I was there when he changed to Luke Gallows and became part of the Straight Edge Society. My buddy wrote that whole group, that faction. So anyway, they go out there with him, and now I'm like, yo, he's got backup. Like it's going down. And then Cody comes out, and he's such a good guy, right? He's Captain America. Or no, John Cena was Captain America. Cody's more like the guy from All Might from My Hero Academia, the Japanese anime. You can watch it dubbed if you want, but subtitles cooler. But that's who he is. He even comes out in the jacket that looks just like the wardrobe from All Might. So I think Cody's an anime fan. But that's who he is. So always a good guy, always has the smile on his face, the good man. He comes out there and he just gets duped and suckered. And AJ wasn't going to retire, and he's not going to the back of the damn line, Nick Aldis. You could suck it too. And he beats the shit out of Cody Rhodes. The Good Brothers are just standing out of the ring. They're like, nah, security, y'all ain't doing shit. You guys are just going to stand there. We're going to beat your ass too. And they just obey. Like nobody, there's like 4-on-2, but they're like, nah, man, that one fool Gallows is huge. So anyway, nobody messed with them and Cody got his ass whipped. And so now Cody's finally going to have a story. A guy who's not going to wait in line, who's on a clock because he's older, flirting with retirement, even though in jest, you know, the man's been thinking about it, and he's going to have one more good goddamn run, and he's not going to let Cody Rhodes, the son of Dusty Rhodes, and you're never going to be as good as your daddy, and I'm better than your daddy ever was because I'm AJ Styles, and I'm going to beat your ass and take your title, and then I'm going to retire champ. So you won't even get a chance to take the title back from me. You have to fight in some stupid tournament in order to pull it off. That's what AJ Styles' story should be, could be, maybe will be. And it gives us a reason to give a damn about Cody again. So far, he's just been wrestling dudes, and the matches have been awesome, but the reason why hasn't been great. And this is an opportunity for them to finally kind of have a great story for, not great, but at least good story for Cody to go in there with. We can talk Bloodline if you guys want. I'll say this. It's smart that they're moving slowly with Solo Sikoa. I don't think he can handle a full-on Roman Reigns style promo yet. And I think they know that. And so I think they're handling him well. Him and Paul Heyman have a really good rapport with one another, really good chemistry. I think Paul Heyman could probably have good chemistry with a brick wall and somehow get the brick wall over. But I like what Solo's doing, but it's good they're moving slow. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Bloodline storyline right now. I think it's good to meet these new characters, even if they're characters that are going to get killed off. So think of some of your favorite TV shows. As soon as you think a guy's a series regular, sometimes they get whacked. Just watch an episode of 24. It happened all the time. No. Anyway, yeah, so I think they're doing good with that. But we're going to move on to AEW. We finally got to see Mercedes Moné, the CEO, your CEO, my CEO, defend her title against Sky Blue. Although not a story match, it was just here, you attacked me, so we're going to fight. It was nice to see her get through a match, look healthy, end healthy, not get hurt. Okay, now maybe we can get something that means something in the very near future. I don't know if they're going to do that with her because they're not doing that with Swerve Strickland. They're making him wrestle every week, which I don't think lessens the title, but it just feels like there's no story planned until after we get through Forbidden Door, which is fine, but I don't know if he had to wrestle every week if that was going to be the case. He's the champ. You know what I mean? Like he can go out there and talk. His promo's not a 10, but it's at least a 7, and he can get the crowd behind him and Nana's money out there no matter what. So I don't know if he had to wrestle every single week. I don't know if he has to wrestle Roderick Strong. He's gonna tonight when you guys listen to this on Wednesday night. Of course, he's going to win. We know he's going to win. They're not going to go in there and have Roderick Strong, the world champ, who just lost to Will Ospreay, the international champ. Like that doesn't make sense. So we know that Swerve's going to win. So I'm not sure, man. It's frustrating because if you listen to this show, you know all three of us are big fans, our producer included, are all big fans of Swerve Strickland. So we want everything every week. Give us everything everywhere. I want a great story, a great match, and a great opponent. That can't happen. But it can happen more than it has so far. We could have got a little something in there. It's okay that we didn't. You got Samoa Joe busy with Hook now and trying to develop that character and give him, some storyline, and I appreciate that. So it's okay. Now the bad news. Adam Copeland broke his goddamn leg. He jumped off a cage. We're going to actually have him and Christian on the podcast in the near future, I believe. And I'm going to question his judgment completely. I'll be honest with you. I texted him before the match, and when I found out it was a barbed wire steel cage and said, you couldn't book yourself in a pillow fight. Nobody's ever gotten hurt in a pillow fight. I could have jinxed it. But I will say this. If he would have done the pillow fight or the swimming pool match that I tried to book, I don't know anybody that got hurt in a swimming pool wrestling match ever, then he would still be the champ today. Unfortunately, he jumped off a cage and landed on something hard and his leg broke, and he is out of commission and cannot be the champ. And they worked it into a story, and I liked the story they told. The Elite came out. They were victorious. Boo. But yay, because that means they have a story plan, and it's with Kenny Omega, so that's cool. they came out and they said basically what I said. Adam Copeland has broken his leg and he cannot be the TNT champion. We are stripping him of the title because that's within our responsibilities as executive vice presidents of AEW. But don't worry, we have a plan. We're going to give the belt. The crowd's so pissed. We're going, and they should be. We're going to give the belt. And while I'm watching this, or before I even saw the segment, I texted some of my wrestling friends and was like, man, they should just make me the TNT champion. Well, they did, just not me. They gave it to another famous person's son, Luke Perry's son, Jack Perry, and just handed him the belt. And Jack Perry, if you don't know, his character is a scumbag piece of shit right now. And he hates everybody. He hates his boss. He feels like a scapegoat. That's what they're calling him as his like catchphrase nickname. And screw everybody. I'm rich. I'm young. I'm athletic. I'm the man. And you can kiss my ass if you don't agree with all those things. That's who his character is right now. And so they give this piece of shit the belt and the crowd's booing like crazy. All of a sudden, another executive comes out, a man they just fired. I think it's Christopher Daniels comes out. I almost said Chris Angel. He's a magician. Christopher Daniels comes out and they had just fired this guy, but Tony rehired him. And he tried to explain that that's not going to happen. And there's going to be a tournament in order to decide who the TNT champion is going to be. And Jack, you're more than welcome to be in that tournament, but good luck, you son of a bitch. And then FTR came out and they had his back and everybody's pissed off. But now we know that there's a tournament that's going to go down for the TNT championship. Now, I still think Jack Perry wins the tournament. I think he would be an awesome assholeian type champion and then they could have more gold in the elite, which makes them look more powerful. You can help build a babyface trying to take Jack Perry down and get that title while Edge is hurt, while Adam Copeland's hurt. Although I think when Adam comes back, he'll move on to a different story completely than from that one. But yeah, I think they've got a lot of directions they can go. And Jack Perry's looked good since he came back. Better on the mic, better in his backstage segments. The elite seem to be really good at helping other people get over in segments. When it's just the two of them, I think they're trying to get one another over so much that sometimes it can like lose the heartbeat. But when there's other people there, they do a good job of like talking them up, but then giving them an opportunity to speak and letting them get an opportunity to get themselves over. I've noticed that over the last few episodes. So yeah, so that was AEW. We know that MJF's back. Not sure what they're going to do with him. I mean, Adam Cole is unfinished business unless a kick to the nuts sealed the deal, but I don't think so. I think he wants to get more payback on that son of a bitch. You could see him. I mean, no matter what, it's going to be Adam Cole or one of the titles. I think those are the only things that make sense for MJF is get his gold back. And I don't see him going with Swerve yet, although that would be sick. Or get him with Ospreay and make that title freaking mean something. I don't think those two dudes have ever wrestled. That would be sick. But I think Adam Cole has to be first. I don't think any other titles are at the level that MJF's at. Not that the International is, but he could make that mean something big time. And he could have a great story for him and Swerve too. But other than that, Adam Cole for him. That's my guess. What about you, Jeff? Oh, that's right. He's not here. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. We have no listener reviews this week, but I do ask every week, whether it's criticism or, well, Jeff only wants the good stuff. But even if it's criticism, I take it. I heard you guys and saying, hey, more WWE. Well, you got it today, baby. You got it today. WWE for life. Although I say that about AEW too. And I'm starting to like other wrestling. Sorry. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Leave us reviews. Those are always awesome. Our bosses like to see that. And I might even read it on the air in a sick accent. Well, not a good one, but a sick one for sure. Tune in Thursday or whenever you like to listen to Unsanctioned Thursdays. We're going to get into all our predictions. And it's time for Freddie to talk some trash, baby. You know what I'm saying. Thanks for listening, you guys. I'll see you next week. Peace. This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.